According to a Stanford psychological review, the children who smile the most are often the ones hiding the heaviest feelings. Strange, isn't it? The kid who jokes around, the teen who says, "I'm fine," with a half shrug. Sometimes they're the ones quietly drowning. And here's the part that hits like a punch to the heart. Most teens don't tell their parents what hurts, not because they want to keep secrets, but because they don't want to become a burden. If that line made your chest feel tight, you're not alone. Picture this. It's a normal morning. You wake your teen for school, and suddenly, boom, attitude level 999. You're barely awake, and they're already irritated. And you're thinking, wow, good morning too, sunshine. But here's what most parents don't see. Behaviors that look like rudeness are often early warning signs of emotional overload. Psychologists call it defensive withdrawal. It's what happens when a child feels something they don't know how to explain, so they just push people away. And yes, often the people they push the hardest are the ones they love the most. Now imagine this one. You ask, "How are you?" They reply with that infamous one-word classic, "Okay." No eye contact, no details, just okay. But according to a Harvard child development study, silence in teens is almost never about having nothing to say. It's usually about being afraid you won't understand what they're trying to say. Let that sink in. It's not that they don't trust you, it's that they don't trust their ability to explain their pain. Humor me for a second. Think about the last time you asked your teen, "What's wrong?" And they said, "Nothing," while looking like their world was collapsing. Ah yes, the legendary nothing. A universal teen language meaning, "I don't have the words, please read my heart instead." This part might hurt, but stay with me. Teens don't hide pain to avoid their parents. They hide pain to protect them. They worry you'll feel disappointed or stressed or overwhelmed. And in their young minds, they think keeping quiet is an act of love. It's ironic, isn't it? Kids try to protect the very parents who would do anything to protect them. But here's the twist psychologists find fascinating. The more a teen pretends they're okay, the more their brain shifts into emotional survival mode. They become quieter, more distant, more "leave me alone." Not because they're pushing you away, but because they're desperately hoping you'll pull them closer. If you've ever felt like your child is drifting, like something is off but you can't name it, stay with me. The next part might finally explain the emotional storm your teen has been carrying behind their silence. Now let's go deeper. Sometimes the biggest clue that something's wrong is when your child stops being themselves. A teen who used to laugh loudly suddenly becomes quiet. A child who used to talk nonstop now retreats to their room. A kid who used to ask for help now says, "I'll do it." And parents think it's rebellion, but psychologists say it's often emotional fatigue. Imagine having a heart so tired that you convince yourself no one wants to hear what it's feeling. Here's an image you won't forget. Every time a child feels unheard, their heart builds another wall. Not to keep you out, but to keep the pain in. This is why teens become experts at hiding. They joke, they scroll, they pretend. They distract themselves with noise. Because facing the silence inside feels scarier. And in part 2, we'll uncover the subtle signs, the ones so small you might have missed, that reveal when a teen is carrying silent pain. Because sometimes the quietest kids are the ones whose hearts are screaming the loudest. Let's talk about the signs, the quiet, almost invisible clues your teen leaves behind. Not because they want you to notice, but because a part of them is hoping you will. One of the first signs psychologists point out is the sudden change in emotional temperature. You know how some teens switch moods faster than a Wi-Fi signal drops at the worst possible moment? One minute they're laughing. The next they're in their room, door closed, headphones on, acting like you just ruined their whole life by asking, "Have you eaten?" But that shift, that snap, is often a sign of emotional overwhelm. Their brains, according to a Yale study, are wired to feel emotions 10 times more intensely than adults. So when something small goes wrong, a comment from a classmate, a bad grade, a friend ignoring their message, their whole internal world shakes. You see the mood swing. What you don't see is the earthquake. Here's another sign. They become overly independent. And no, I don't mean the healthy kind of independence. I mean the I don't need help, I don't need anyone, I'll solve everything alone kind. Parents usually clap for this. Wow, she's becoming mature. But psychologists warn, when a teen suddenly stops asking for help, it's often because they've convinced themselves they are a burden. Read that again. A burden. Your child, the one you carried, fed, protected, thinks they are too much. It's heartbreaking, and it's real. Another subtle sign? They start hiding their room, their phone, or their face. No, they're not necessarily hiding scandalous secrets. Often they're hiding their emotions. Red eyes, tired face, the evidence of last night's overthinking, the one-sided arguments they replayed in their head, the self-doubt they can't erase. You might think they're pushing you away, but really, they're pushing away the fear of disappointing you. Now, here's the part that sounds ironic, but is 100% backed by research. Teens who are hurting don't always look sad. Sometimes they look too happy, too smiley, too loud, too everything is perfect, like they're performing a version of themselves that feels safe. It's emotional camouflage, the I'm okay mask. Psychologists say this mask becomes stronger when a teen feels like the home is not a safe place to be vulnerable. Not because parents are bad, but because parents are busy, stressed, tired, or unintentionally dismissive. Ever said, you're being overly dramatic? It's not a big deal. Stop that. Here comes a drama again. It happens. We're human. But to a teen's heart, it lands like your feelings are too much. And so they lock them away. Now, let's flip the perspective for a moment. Imagine you're a teen. You're scared, confused, tired. You want to talk, but you don't know how. So you wait for the right moment. A soft tone, a gentle question, a safe place. But that moment never comes. So you stay quiet. Not because you want to, but because you don't know how to begin. And here's a twist most parents don't expect. Teens rarely hide their pain because of something wrong with them. They hide it because they're protecting something right about you, your heart. They don't want you blaming yourself. They don't want to add to your stress. They don't want to make things worse. They love you, quietly. Now, let's go even deeper. Another sign of hidden pain is withdrawal from things they used to enjoy. Activities they once loved suddenly feel heavy. Friends they used to laugh with now feel draining. Even simple tasks like getting up, showering, eating feel like climbing a mountain. It's not laziness, it's emotional exhaustion. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with invisible rocks, self-doubt, fear of judgment, pressure to be okay, fear of disappointing you, academic stress, friendship drama, identity confusion, body image worries, and yes, loneliness. That backpack gets heavier every day, and the more it weighs, the quieter they become. Sometimes the loudest silence is from a teen who's trying their hardest to survive. In part 3, we'll talk about what parents can actually do, how to make your teen feel safe again, how to get them to open up without pushing, and how to heal wounds you can't see. Because the truth is simple. Teens don't need perfect parents. They need emotionally present ones. And if you're still watching this, you're already becoming one. So now the question every parent asks sooner or later, how do I get my teen to open up? Without forcing it, without scaring them, and without making things worse. Let's start with the truth psychologists repeat over and over. Teens don't open up to the person who asks the most questions. They open up to the person who feels the safest. And emotional safety doesn't come from perfect parenting. It comes from gentle presence. You don't need dramatic speeches. You don't need to give TED Talk level advice. You don't need to fix everything. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do is sit beside them without judgment, without pressure, just quietly showing them, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And you don't have to be okay for me to love you. Psychologists call this co-regulation. Your calm becomes their calm. But here's a twist most parents miss. Teens don't open up during serious talks. They open up during ordinary moments, while washing dishes together, while sitting in the car, while folding clothes, while taking a short walk. Those in-between moments are where the walls soften. where their guard lowers, where their heart whispers, maybe I can tell them. Because when the environment is calm, their brain feels safe enough to stop surviving and start sharing. Now, let's talk about the way parents respond, because this is where most teens shut down. When your child tells you something painful, your instinct might be to react fast. What? Who did that? Why didn't you tell me earlier? What were you thinking? Why would you feel that way? But that quick reaction, even when it comes from love, can feel like judgment to a fragile teen heart. So here's the golden rule of connection. Respond to their emotions first, not the situation. Instead of saying, "Why did you do that?" try, "That must have felt really overwhelming." Instead of, "You should have told me," try, "I'm really glad you're telling me now." Instead of, "Stop being dramatic," say, "I can see this matter to you." These tiny shifts do something huge. They teach your child that their feelings are safe with you. And when a teen feels safe, they open. Slowly, softly, bravely. Another powerful strategy? Ask curiosity questions, not interrogation questions. Interrogation sounds like, "What happened? Why did you do that? Who said that? Explain it." But curiosity sounds like, "Tell me what that felt like. What part of this hurt the most? I want to understand. Can you help me see it from your eyes? I'm here. Take your time." One direction shuts them down. The other opens a door. And here's a secret most parents never hear. Teens don't need constant advice. They need companionship in their confusion. They don't need you to always solve the problem. They need you to sit in the problem with them until they find their way through. Because when a teen says, "I don't want to talk," it rarely means they don't want to talk. It usually means, "I want you to notice without pressuring me. I want you close, but not too close. I want to talk, but I'm scared you'll misunderstand." Their silence isn't rejection. It's hesitation. Now, let's talk about something deeper. Something parents rarely realize. Most teens don't need emotional rescue. They need emotional permission. Permission to feel sad without being told to move on. Permission to cry without being asked to explain everything. Permission to be confused without being told you're just overreacting. Permission to be human without feeling like they should already have everything figured out. Because when a child feels emotionally safe, they don't just share their pain, they heal inside it. And healing happens in surprising ways. A teen who used to hide starts knocking on your door. A child who used to say, "I'm fine," starts giving real answers. A kid who used to retreat into silence begins opening conversation. A teen who once carried everything alone begins handing you pieces of their world. Not all at once, but piece by fragile piece. Because healing is not loud. Healing is quiet. Healing is slow. Healing is noticing the cracks and choosing to love through them. And here's something beautiful to hold on to. Teens don't remember perfect parents. They remember present ones. The ones who stayed patient. The ones who listened. The ones who didn't give up. The ones who said, "I'm here," even when things got messy. If you've ever felt like you're failing, like your teen isn't opening up, like you're doing everything wrong, please hear this with your whole heart. The fact that you're watching this means you're already the parent your child needs. You care. You're learning. You're trying. And teens feel that deeply. Before we end, here's the message your teen might never say out loud, but they feel inside. Please don't stop loving me, even when I look unlovable. Please don't stop asking, even when I don't answer. Please don't stop showing up, even when I push you away. Please stay, because I need you more than I can say. If this made you see your child in a new light, hit that subscribe. Because sometimes kids don't need a perfect parent, they just need one who finally understands the quiet stories their heart is trying to tell. And before you go, take this final thought with you. The next time your child stays silent, don't ask what's wrong, ask what's hurting. Because silence in a child is never empty.